Coles, Woolworths. Both of them put the word healthy in front of your nose every single week, but nobody, ever, has put them head-to-head label against label, until today. And what happens when you line them up side by side isn't what you'd expect, because one of the two has spent years calling itself the healthiest supermarket in Australia. By the end of this, you'll know whether that title actually means anything, or whether it's just a number that does you no good when you're standing in front of the shelf. I compared the healthy ranges from both chains, Woolworths Macro and the Coles Health range, label by label, against the rules of FSANZ and the ACCC. And this hits your wallet and your health, because every week you pick one of these products trusting that label. If the label means nothing, you're choosing blind. We all think the healthiest supermarket is a good guide, but that medal is an average of thousands of products. And an average decides nothing when you've got two healthy yogurts, one in each hand. The one that wins on average can lose on the very product you carry home. Let's lay it out. Woolworths has its own named health brand, Macro, simple, wholesome food, no artificial colors, flavors, or sweeteners, sounds spotless. And Woolworths runs with that idea all the way. On its own website, it pins on the medal of healthiest supermarket, leaning on a report that measures the average health score of its products. Coles plays it differently. It doesn't have a single brand with a health name. It has a section health foods and scattered promises, product by product. But here's the trick nobody tells you. That healthiest medal is an average, a mean, across thousands and thousands of products. And an average tells you absolutely nothing when you're standing at the shelf, with a low-fat Coles yogurt in one hand and a Woolworths one in the other, trying to decide which is better for your heart or your blood sugar. That question, the real one, the one at the shelf nobody had answered for Australia. So I answered it myself, product by product. But before I show you who wins, there's one thing we have to sort out. The most important thing of all. A single word. What does it actually mean, exactly, for a food to be healthy? Because for the law, it might not mean what you think, or worse, it might mean nothing at all. Here's the answer, and the first time you hear it, it'll surprise you. To Australian law, the word healthy on the name of a product range means almost nothing. The labeling law, FSANZ, doesn't regulate that word. A brand can call its range wholesome, healthy, or better for you without having to prove a single thing. It's marketing. Like giving a car the name of a fast animal. Sounds good, but promises nothing concrete. What does the law control? Two very specific things. One, if it states a number, low in fat, source of fiber, that's a promise about a nutrient, and it has to be true. Two, if it says it does you a specific good, good for your heart, helps your cholesterol, that's a health promise, and there the law gets serious. The product has to pass a nutrient test and stand on evidence. So notice the trap. Healthy, on its own, promises neither a number nor a benefit. And that's exactly why it's allowed without proof. The vaguer the word, the less the brand has to prove. Now, there is one last safety net. It's called consumer law, and the ACCC keeps watch over it. It says something simple. Even if the word isn't regulated, you can't mislead people. And to show you this has teeth, here's a true story. A few years ago, Heinz was selling little snacks for young children, covered in pictures of fruit and vegetables, with the words 99% fruit and veg, all true. Except the product was, by 2/3, sugar. The Australian courts ruled that healthy image misled parents, and they fined Heinz $2.25 million. The lesson, and burn this in, because it's the key to this whole video. A statement can be technically true and still lie to you if the impression it leaves doesn't match what's inside the pack. So the word healthy tells you nothing. The pretty picture can fool you. There's only one thing left on the entire label that you can truly trust: the numbers. And that's where the duel begins. Coles against Woolworths, head to head, and we start with the one that matters most to your blood pressure: salt. Round 1. Salt. The one that matters most to your blood pressure. Let's start with the most basic thing both of them sell: wholemeal sandwich bread. Woolworths wholemeal. 380 milligrams of sodium for every 100 grams. Coles wholemeal, 380. Exactly the same. A tie. Neither one is more healthy than the other. They're the same bread, gram for gram. So far, no winner. But the surprise turns up in the next aisle. The tins. Here you've got 2 tins of baked beans and tomato sauce. Both say organic. Both present themselves as the healthy choice. But one carries Woolworth's Star Badge macro. It's whole foods range. Simple, wholesome food. If you had to bet which one has less salt, you'd bet on that one. Wouldn't you? The one with the health brand. You'd be wrong. The macro beans from Woolworths, 310 milligrams of sodium per 100 grams. The Coles organic beans, 228. The one with the health brand has more salt. And not by a little, a third more. What's more, even the plain, cheap Coles beans have less sodium than the Woolworths Whole Foods tin. Now, let's be fair, because it matters. The macro beans aren't bad. 310 is still under the limit the experts recommend. A dietitian even recommends them. The problem isn't that tin. The problem is what you took for granted. That the healthier-looking pack would be the one with less salt. And it wasn't. That's the lesson of the first round. The word whole foods doesn't lower the sodium. The pretty badge doesn't lower the sodium. Only that little per 100 grams number tells you the truth, and sometimes it tells you the exact opposite of what you expected. On salt, the duel came out even, with a point to Coles. But salt was the easy round, because there's another nutrient where the healthy label can play a far bigger trick on you. And it hides behind the word that gives you the most confidence of all, natural. Round 2, sugar. And this round matters twice as much if your blood sugar's high or you've got diabetes, because it's the very aisle that fools you most. Let's start clean. Plain Greek yogurt. The Coles one, light. The Woolworths one, 99% fat-free. Sugar, about 5 grams per 100 in both. And that sugar isn't even added, it's the natural sugar from the milk. A tie, and both fine. If you buy plain yogurt, you're safe in either shop. The problem isn't the plain yogurt. The problem starts when 2 magic words show up: low fat. Here's the trick almost nobody knows. When they take the fat out of a yogurt, it goes thin and watery. So, to make it taste good again, what do they put in? Sugar and syrup and fruit juice concentrate. They take fat out the front and put sugar in the back. The result? Those flavored low-fat yogurts, Coles and Woolworths alike, jump to 10-12 grams of sugar per 100. An Australian study measured it. More than half the flavored yogurts at both chains carried more than 3 teaspoons of sugar. A tub. Some little tubs. 7.5 teaspoons. That's not yogurt anymore. It's dessert with a yogurt lid. And the natural cereal? Worse still. Those natural gourmet toasted muesli granolas, the ones that look like the healthiest thing on the breakfast table, run between 15 and 25 grams of sugar per in both chains. The word natural on the box doesn't drop a single gram, because natural, just like healthy, isn't a promise the law controls. So who wins the sugar round? Coles or Woolworths? Neither. And that's one of the most uncomfortable lessons in all of this. On sugar, the two do exactly the same thing. Your opponent was never Coles or Woolworths. Your opponent is the word on the pack. And low fat and natural are telling you about anything except the sugar. But maybe you're thinking, I don't read all that. I trust the stars, the health stars, in the corner of the pack, the one symbol that's meant to sum it all up at a glance. And here's the million-dollar question. Do those stars actually see the sugar, or do they get fooled too? Round 3, the health stars. The last round, and the most important because it's the shortcut, the symbol you glance at so you don't have to read anything. If the stars work, they save you all the trouble. Both chains use them flat out. Woolworths puts them on its whole own brand range, Coles too. And here Woolworths genuinely wins. Close to 60% of its products score 3.5 stars or more. Coles, just over half. That's why Woolworths can pin on the medal of the healthiest supermarket. On the stars, it wins. But, and this is the biggest but in the whole video, ask yourself something almost nobody asks. Why do you see those stars? Because the stars are voluntary. The shop puts them on if it wants to. And a study of 20,000 products made it clear. The chains Coles and Woolworths included put the stars mainly on the products that score well. The ones that score badly often carry none. So what you see on the shelf isn't the whole truth. It's the honor roll. The failing students aren't in the photo. And now for the worst part. Because even when a product does show 4 or 5 stars, those stars are nearly blind to what matters most to you. The system rewards fiber, whole grain, protein, and barely punishes salt and sugar. The result? That natural granola with 4 stars we saw a moment ago, the one with 20 grams of sugar scores well all the same. And a healthy ready meal can wear 4 stars with 600, even 800 milligrams of sodium inside. 4 stars don't mean low salt. They don't mean low sugar. They only mean better than other products like it. And the body that runs the stars says so itself. Therefore, comparing similar products, not for deciding whether something is truly healthy. So now we've got the result of all 3 rounds. The word fails you, the picture fails you, and the shortcut of the stars, the last one you had left, fails you too. 3 for 3. But the real punch of this video isn't who won the duel. It's understanding what all that hidden salt and sugar does to your body, day after day, that these labels won't let you see. And that's where the numbers stop being a game. Alright, let's dim the lights on the ring for a moment. Because after 3 rounds, you surely want the real answer. All up, across thousands of products. Who's actually healthier, Coles or Woolworths? I'll give it to you, with data from an analysis of thousands of items. Woolworths wins. On average, its own brand products score a little higher on health than Coles's do. And the own brands of both, together, carry around 17% less salt than the big-name brands. So yes, buying home brand, and especially at Woolworths, is a little better. But notice that word, a little. Because here's the real punch of this whole video, and it isn't the one you expected. The fight was rigged from the start. Both opponents are processed food. And a bit less bad than the other one is not the same as good for you. Nearly half of everything on those shelves is food your body simply doesn't need. The healthy badge moves you from a 2 to a 3 out of 5. Better, sure, but still not the low salt, low sugar food your body actually asks for. And why do I get so serious about this? Because for someone your age, salt and sugar together are a double hit. Salt pushes your blood pressure up. Sugar adds weight and insulin resistance, which pushes the pressure up further and raises the risk of diabetes. And there's a quiet trap. Salt makes you thirsty, and thirst leads you to the sweet drink. One feeds the other. And look at this figure, because it changes everything. The average Australian eats almost double the salt they should, and hardly any of it comes from the salt shaker. It comes hidden, inside the packets. From the natural granola, the light yogurt, the Whole Foods beans, drop by drop, every day, against a body that's already over the line. But a figure on a national chart is still an abstraction. You're not an average. You're a person, with your blood pressure, maybe your blood sugar, doing your Thursday shop. So let's see what this double hit means for you. So let's make it yours. If you've got high blood pressure and, on top of that, diabetes, your salt limit isn't the normal one, it's lower still. Around 2,000 milligrams a day, or less. Sounds easy to stick to, doesn't it? Well, look at this figure, because it hurts. In an Australian study of people with type 2 diabetes, only 3 in 100 men and 14 in 100 women managed to stay under the salt limit. Almost nobody. And it's not because they don't try. It's because the salt is hidden in the very food they bought, believing they were doing the right thing. Look at an ordinary day. Breakfast, natural granola and light yogurt, both loaded with sugar. Lunch, a wholemeal sandwich with a healthy soup. The soup, loaded with sodium. Dinner, a healthy, ready meal. More sodium. It all looked virtuous. It all carried the magic word. And by the end of the day, you've gone past your salt limit and your sugar limit on the very products you chose because they said healthy. And what happens when that repeats, month after month? That hidden salt makes your blood pressure medication fight harder than it should. That hidden sugar makes your blood sugar harder to control. Slowly, quietly, without you doing anything wrong. The opposite, while you were trying to do it right. And let me be clear, none of this is a reason to touch your medication. That's your doctor's call. This is only about what goes in the trolley. But there's one more blow, and this is the cruelest. Those healthy ranges macro, the organic, the 97% fat-free, almost always cost more than the plain home brand. So, on a pension, you're paying extra for something that's barely better and sometimes worse. You pay for your health twice, once at the till and again in the risk you thought you were avoiding. Meanwhile, the plain tin of beans and the good old rolled oats often just as good or better. And cheaper. So the word lies to you, the stars are blind, and the healthy range charges you more without giving you what it promises. Sounds like a dead end. It isn't, because there is an answer. One single habit that takes 5 seconds and doesn't cost a cent, and it works the same at Coles as at Woolworths. Let me show you now. Here it is, the habit, just one and free. Turn the pack over. Ignore the word healthy. Ignore the stars. Ignore the natural. And go straight to one column, the per 100 grams one. There you look for just 2 numbers. Salt and sugar. And the rule is so simple you'll remember it in the checkout queue. Salt. Above 400 milligrams per 100. It's a now and then food, not an everyday one. Sugar. Above 15 grams per 100. The same. If a product goes over both at once, high salt and high sugar, put it back on the shelf, no matter how pretty the front is. What your body wants is low salt and low sugar. The rest macro, health foods, the stars, the fat-free, is secondary. So who won the duel then? I'll give it to you straight, no tricks. Woolworths is, on average, a touch ahead, but only a touch. And, product by product, the tables turn. You saw how the Coles beans beat the Woolworths ones. So there's no winner you can trust blindly, because the duel was never Coles against Woolworths. It was you against the front of the pack. And that, you now know how to win. And the best part of all, on a pension, the healthiest move is usually the cheapest. Plain rolled oats, plain tinned beans, plain yogurt, with nothing added. Simple food, no health badge, no markup. Often better than the dear one with the pretty word on it. And let me be clear, because it matters. This is information, not medical advice. Your blood pressure, your blood sugar, and your medicines are between you and your doctor. Talk to them before you change anything. And now that you can take apart the word healthy in 5 seconds, think about one thing. You've learned not to trust the product that brags about being good for you. But what about the one you don't even bother to check? The most basic thing in your kitchen. The one you toss in the trolley without a second thought, because it's only bread. We pull it apart, ingredient by ingredient, and what it's hiding is going to change your next shop. That video is waiting for you, right here.